Well, good evening and welcome to Prime News. I'm Rob Astorino. So there's really no easy way to say this. For all intents and purposes, America is in a state of war. And I'm not talking about Ukraine and Russia or Hamas and Israel or even the phony war on drugs. In the last 24 hours, there was yet another attempt to kill former President Donald Trump, the Republican presidential candidate, and very possibly come January, the next president. And while the media reports this as a news event, soon to be cycled out for something else, it's far more than a story. It's really a reflection of the state of affairs in America. It's a reflection of the hate, propaganda, radicalization that the political left and the media, one and the same, bombard America with day in and day out.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right, to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
You would have been a hero. That's what the so-called corporate media has been saying since 2015, that Donald Trump is a dictator, the 21st century version of Hitler. So whoever takes him out will be a hero. And we're all supposed to be surprised about another assassination attempt on Trump? These people have nothing but contempt for the America First movement and foam at the mouth when they see a red MAGA hat. And now the left is doing their best to portray the alleged assassin, Ryan Routh, as a deeply troubled individual who holds, quote, complicated political views. How convenient. Never mind that this is reportedly the shooter's truck with a Biden-Harris bumper sticker on it. Not to mention he's repeatedly attacked Donald Trump on social media about his so-called threats to democracy, the tired and dangerous go-to line used by the left, comments both Kamala Harris and Joe Biden love to tell. What we know is that the alleged shooter is a deranged man with a history of supporting progressive causes and donated to political action committees like Act Blue, which supports Democratic candidates. This guy took hook, line, and sinker the talking points of the political establishment and the media at large, and he acted on it. Now, maybe Routh had second thoughts about following through until he watched Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett yesterday morning.
When I talk about MAGA, I talk about the fact that when we swore in finally in January, that we swore to defend against those that are coming against us, whether they are domestic or international. And right now, I feel like MAGA in general, they are threats to us domestically. And we see it time and time again.
Our politics have turned violent because of rhetoric like that. So-called corporate media and political figures believe that Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, that's you, is a domestic threat. Just listen to the former Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi.
There is a domestic enemy in the White House. And let's not mince words about this.
The Speaker called Donald Trump a domestic enemy on January 6th. Your thoughts, Senator?
Well, the first thing I noticed about there was Nancy, yes, 7th, very good. Nancy telling her staff, let's not mince words. The words mince words are not the words I ever associate with Nancy Pelosi.
Domestic enemy is what she said. And that was to pretend moderate the Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota agreeing with Nancy Pelosi. So in other words, it's infected all parts of the Democratic Party, not just the far left. Now, you might remember Alexander Vindman. He was the star witness in Trump's first impeachment trial who reported on Trump's call with Ukrainian President Zelensky. In other words, a deep stater, a registered Democrat, and fervent hater of Trump, who unsurprisingly called Trump a threat to democracy. Well, take a look at his wife's tweet. No ears were harmed. Carry on with her. I mean, no, I'm not. I don't care a little bit. That was the wife of Alexander Vindman bragging how she doesn't care that a man's life was almost taken for a second time. Once again, these are not comments from like random lunatics on the street or asinine college students. These are the thoughts and values from a Washington, D.C. insider. And the only reason she deleted that tweet was because her husband's brother is running for Congress in Virginia as a Democrat. There's no coming back from that. She said exactly what she means because this is who they are. It's Democrats who unfriend Trump supporters on social media and will never speak to a family member again if they voted for Trump. It's big tech on behalf of the left who's censoring Trump and his supporters. What more do you need to see and hear that the Trump threat level is as high as it's ever been?
The threat level is high. We have increased the amount of assets that we've supported, so we live in danger times. So yes. Yeah,
no joke. It is a dangerous time. We just had the second assassination attempt of Donald Trump within 65 days. Now, I'm afraid this won't be the last time. I really don't. They'll keep trying until the job is done. Now, as I said, America is in a state of political war, whether we like it or not. Don't know where this war is going to go and if it will just be contained to politics. And the left isn't doing a thing to tone down their rhetoric. In fact, they're doubling down, and they're blaming you. This is from New York Magazine. After the assassination attempt, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, and saying so is not incitement. That was true before an assassination attempt was foiled at his golf course Sunday, and it remains true after. It goes on to try to duck and weave in arguing that it's conservatives who are hypocritical while continuing their anti-Trump hating, their inflammatory rhetoric. I mean, they're going as far as saying it's essentially Trump's fault. He's the one that needs to tone it down, not the left.
Do you expect there to be calls from within the Trump campaign to do that? Because he's going to reach out to his supporters and say, let's take this down. Do you expect to hear anything from the Trump campaign about toning down the rhetoric, toning down the violence, or would that be atypical of the former president?
What the hell violence are they talking about? Is there confusion as to who's the target of political violence right now? No. But that's why they're creating the confusion, right? In fact, it's your fault for the violence. It's all that misinformation the right is spewing.
On one side, the attempts to divide, to enrage the population, to put out false rumors and misinformation. We know the mayor in Springfield is begging the Republican Party to stop with the false information on immigrants. They have portions of the town on lockdown at this point, and an increase in all of the partisanship and the fear-mongering that's going on. And then on the other side, we have this complete availability of assault rifles, too.
Oh, my God. You know, so according to the left, not only is it your fault, but as the original version of Kamala Harris said not too long ago, we have to take away your guns. But this is the cold, hard truth. It's not Republicans who are spewing rhetoric like this. It's the left.
This means war. That is where we are. We are at war with these people. These folks are evil.
There is an ultra-right MAGA contingent in this country that wants to overthrow the U.S. government.
It is a danger to our democracy. It is a danger to our way of life.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
The extremists that we're dealing with every single day, we've got to kill and confront that movement.
So tone it down, or better yet, shut up. These people are delusional. I mean, they are seething with hate for Trump and MAGA supporters.
Obviously, Republicans, I think, are the biggest threat to democracy. We don't separate right-wing extremists and Republican Party anymore.
I see this as a party, a MAGA party, that no longer is confident that they can win elections with votes. And so now they're seeking to enact their political will through violence.
This is literally what conservative white folks do when they don't get their way. They turn violent.
Today's GOP is no longer a political movement
It is a fascist movement.
And this is why it could be more dangerous than 1860 or the 1930s.
So Antifa and BLM, you know, those are all conservative movements. We can go on and on with this. I mean, it's endless. And so here we are 65 days later after the first assassination attempt, after no attempt in 43 years. The left will not stop until they win. And you know what's frightening is that everything is justifiable, even the most violent acts, when you believe you're battling evil, right? This is the line of reasoning among radical fundamentalists who've declared jihad on the non-believers. The cold hard truth is this: the left has declared something like a holy war on Donald Trump, and by an extension, any Republican. A war that they believe must be won, no matter what the cost.